You know how sometimes you're looking for a place to really explore, somewhere that has, well, a bit more going on than just a pretty view.
Definitely.
Well, today we're diving into Minneopa State Park. It's down in southern Minnesota.
Minneopa. Yeah, it's a fantastic destination, really, for anyone curious about nature and history, too.
Right.
Our goal here is to give you a compelling snapshot of what makes Minneopa so special.
Mm,
You know, whether you're maybe planning a visit to learn firsthand or just want to expand your knowledge a bit.
exactly. And we've pulled together quite a range of information, park guides, historical records, even geological surveys to bring you the most interesting insights we could find.
Good stuff.
And just to set the stage, Minneopa isn't just any park. It's actually the third oldest state park in Minnesota, established way back in 1905.
Wow, 1905.
Yeah. And its primary mission back then, as it still is for many visitors today, was really to protect the incredible Mini Opa Falls.
And, it's worth noting for anyone thinking of going, how the park is sort of organized for exploration. It's essentially split into two main areas.
Okay.
So off County Highway 69, that's where you find the park office and the iconic waterfalls, plus some historic structures nearby.
Got it.
Then, over on the Highway 68 side, that's where you'll discover the campground, the really fascinating Seman Mill, and the Bison range.
All right, the Bison.
Yeah, keeping that layout in mind can, really help you make the most of a visit. Plan your route a bit.
That's helpful. Okay, so let's unpack the main attraction for many people, the majestic Mini Opa Falls. The name itself, it has a really evocative origin, doesn't it?
It really does. Minneopa, it comes straight from the Dakota language. And the most widely accepted interpretation of Minneopa is water falling twice.
Water falling twice. Perfect.
It's such a vivid description of what you actually see there. Now, you might also hear other translations, things like water of two falls or even water to the dancing elk, which kind of hints at the deep cultural connection between the landscape and the Dakota people who've called this area home for, well, a very long time.
And what a spectacle those two falls create. We're talking the upper section dropping about, 6 to 7 feet?
Mm-hmm.
About that. And that leads into the really dramatic lower falls that cascade another impressive 39 to 40 feet into that stunning gorge below.
Yeah, it's quite a sight. You can just imagine the roar when the water is really high.
Oh, absolutely. Did the historical accounts or surveys mention much about the impact of that high water flow?
They did, yeah. The power of that water has been a significant force in shaping this landscape over, millennia.
Right.
Geologically speaking, the falls are basically the result of Minneopa Creek just steadily eroding, cutting down through layers of Jordan sandstone.
Okay, sandstone.
But what's particularly interesting here is that this sandstone, it isn't uniform. It's actually made up of 3 distinct layers.
Relay.
Yeah, and each one has a different level of resistance to erosion. Sort of like carving wood, Softer wood wears away faster.
Oh, okay.
The water's the carving tool. And the varying hardness of the sandstone is what created that characteristic kind of staircase profile you see at the falls. The softer layers just recede more quickly.
That makes sense. It's a great way to visualize it. And there's a man-made element that adds to the experience too, isn't there? A historic bridge.
Yes, exactly. There's a beautiful arch concrete footbridge. It was built back in 1921.
1921.
And it gives you a fantastic vantage point to really take in the scale and the beauty of the falls. Standing there, you're not just appreciating the natural wonder, but also kind of connecting with the history, how people have experienced this place for over a century now.
And going even further back in that history, there's the story of Sintamnaduda's cave. Even though it's gone now, it still resonates, right?
It does, yeah. Although it collapsed sometime in the late 1800s, Sintamnaduda's cave, named after a Sisseton chief, it holds a pretty significant place in the local history.
Mm-hmm.
The story goes that his sister actually sought refuge there at one point, which just highlights the area's importance to the Dakota people and their stories. It's a powerful reminder of their long presence here.
It's fascinating how both the natural forces and these human stories are just woven together there.
Absolutely.
And speaking of human impact, the 1930s, they saw some pretty significant developments around the falls area, didn't they?
They certainly did. The Works Progress Administration, the WPA.
Right, the WPA.
They undertook a major project to improve the area right around the falls. They built the cement steps you see now that make the trails more accessible.
Okay.
And also a public shelter and restrooms.
Mm.
What's really noteworthy, though, is that they used local sandstone in these constructions.
Oh, nice.
Which really ties these man-made structures back to the natural environment.
Hmm.
This whole area, in fact, is recognized as a National Register Historic District because of these well-preserved, kind of rustic structures that blend so seamlessly with the landscape.
That's great that they use the local stone. Okay, let's journey over to the other side of the park now, the Highway 68 side, and explore the iconic Seman Mill. This windmill sounds like a real symbol of, early settlement and ingenuity.
Oh, it truly is, yeah. Seman Mill is this historic stone windmill. It was constructed by Louis Seman, who was a German immigrant between 1862 and 1864.
Right in the middle of the Civil War era, basically.
Exactly. And it's also on the National Register of Historic Places. Picture this. It's a 32-foot high tower
Hmm.
with these massive 72-foot arms that were originally covered in sailcloth.
72-foot arms. That's incredible.
It's huge, yeah. It was built as a gristmill, to grind wheat for the local community.
I imagine getting something like that operational back in the 1860s. Well, it wasn't exactly a walk in the park. Any stories in the research about why it was maybe difficult to get started?
Yeah, the historical accounts do mention some initial challenges, just getting the mechanics right, getting the mill to function properly.
Hmm.
And beyond those initial hurdles, the mill, well, it faced ongoing battles with the elements. Lightning strikes, tornadoes actually caused damage to the arms on several occasions.
Oh, wow. Nature fighting back.
Kinda, yeah. These challenges, combined with, advancements in milling technology elsewhere, eventually led to it becoming obsolete by around 1890.
So a relatively brief but pretty impactful working life then. What happened to the mill after that? Did it just fall apart?
Well, luckily, no. Recognizing its historical significance, Seman's heirs actually gifted the mill to the Blue Earth County Historical Society in 1930.
Oh, that was fortunate.
Very. And then, just a year later, in 1931, the Historical Society donated it to the state park. So that ensured its preservation as a landmark within this protected landscape.
That's wonderful. So can visitors still see inside the mill today? Get a sense of how it worked?
Well, the internal machinery, that's mostly been dismantled over the years,
Mm-hmm.
but the exterior of the mill has been restored and maintained. And the site itself, it offers this really picturesque overlook of the Minnesota River Valley. And interestingly, the Bison Range, too.
Oh, right.
It's a fantastic spot to sort of reflect on the past and just appreciate the present-day landscape.
Speaking of the present day, one of the most exciting recent developments at Minneopa has absolutely been the return of the American Plains bison.
Absolutely. Yeah, huge news. Back in September 2015, bison were reintroduced to the park. It's part of the Minnesota Bison Conservation Herd Initiative.
And this is a really significant conservation effort, right? Because this herd is considered genetically pure.
That's the key point, yeah.
Yeah.
Genetically pure, meaning they have minimal traces of cattle DNA. Essentially, these bison are as close as we can possibly get to the original herds that roamed this land before European settlement.
Wow.
So maintaining that genetic purity is, well, it's vital for their long-term survival and helps preserve the unique characteristics of this really iconic species.
And visitors, they actually have the chance to see these magnificent animals firsthand, don't they?
Yes, they do. There's a 330-acre fenced enclosure. It's known as Bison Drive.
Bison Drive. Okay.
And visitors can actually drive their own vehicles through it to observe the bison. It's typically open Thursday through Tuesday, but the hours do vary depending on the season.
Right.
So it's always a good idea to, check the park's website before your visit.
Good tip.
But yeah, it's a truly unique experience to witness these animals in a setting that kind of echoes how they would have lived over, say, 150 years ago.
It really is like a window into the past. And I understand they also play an important role in maintaining the health of the prairie ecosystem there.
They do indeed. Yeah. The bison's grazing patterns, how they move across the land. It's a natural way to manage the prairie. It promotes plant diversity, overall ecosystem health, pretty much just as they did historically.
That's fantastic.
And if you happen to visit between May and September, keep an eye out for the Bison Ambassador volunteers. They're often stationed near Seman Mill. They are a fantastic resource for information, and sometimes they even have bison artifacts like skulls or hides to share. Pretty cool.
Neat.
And you can also tune your car radio to 1610 a.m. when you're in the park. It provides more details about the park itself and the bison herd.
16:10 a.m. Got it. So beyond the sort of the big three, the falls, the mill, and the bison, what other opportunities for exploration does Minneopa offer? There must be more.
Oh, quite a variety, actually.
Mhm.
As we mentioned earlier, the park is situated right in the Minnesota River Valley,
Mm-hmm.
which is this landscape dramatically carved out by the ancient glacial river Warren, from the end of the last ice
Just a
age.
huge glacial river.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that geological history has created this really diverse terrain that's perfect for hiking and exploring.
Okay, so tell me about some of the trails visitors can explore them.
Sure. So near the falls, you've got the Waterfalls Area Trail. It's short, only about 0.18 miles. It's a loop with a mix of cement paths, some dirt sections, and yes, some steep stairs. But it offers different perspectives of the falls.
Okay, accessible but with stairs.
Right. For a longer trek, there's the Minnesota River Bluff Trail. That one's about 1.6 miles. It goes across grass, dirt, rocky terrain, has some hills. It's also known as a prime spot for spotting bald eagles.
Ooh, nice.
Then there's the Minneopa Creek Confluence Trail. That's a 0.4 miles. It's a bit more challenging, maybe. Dirt, gravel, rocky, some steep sections. But it leads right down to where Minneopa Creek flows into the Minnesota River.
Cool.
And for cyclists, the Mankato Area Bike Trail South Road Trail actually has an access point within the park. That gives you a 6.7-mile paved route one way.
Okay, good option for bikers.
And then in the northern section of the park, there are another 5 miles or so of hiking trails that wind through prairie, wetland, and forest habitats. So you get a different flavor of the park's natural beauty over there.
So really something for kind of every level of activity, it sounds like. What about options for folks who want to stay a bit longer, immerse themselves?
Yep, the park offers a campground. It's got 61 individual sites, plus some group camp areas for larger gatherings. And for anyone interested in learning more about the park's natural or cultural history during their visit, I'd highly recommend looking into the free naturalist programs. Park staff often lead walks or give talks.
Oh, that's great.
And if you're visiting with kids, definitely ask about borrowing a kid's discovery kit from the park office. They're usually filled with activities and tools, a really wonderful way to engage young explorers.
Yeah, excellent tip for families. And what about for those of us who are maybe avid bird watchers?
Ah, yes. Minneopa is indeed a popular destination for birding. The park even provides a checklist of recorded bird species you might see.
Oh, handy.
Yeah. You might be lucky enough to spot some really vibrant birds like the scarlet tanager or the wood thrush, maybe hear the eastern meadowlark. And, of course, keep an eye peeled for those majestic bald eagles, especially near the river bluff.
Always impressive.
The diverse habitats within the park just support a really rich variety of avian life.
Okay, so any final sort of essential tips for people planning a visit to Minneopa, things to keep in mind?
Yeah, a couple of key things. First, just remember, the park has those 2 distinct sections we talked about off the different highways.
Yeah.
So maybe plan your visit accordingly based on what you most want to see and do.
Right, the layout.
Second, always respect any trail closures you might encounter. They're usually there for safety reasons or to protect sensitive areas.
Good point.
And crucially, when you're in the bison range, remember, these are wild animals. It is absolutely essential to remain in your vehicle at all times, for your safety and for theirs.
Absolutely. Stay in the car with the bison.
Got it. So it really sounds like Minneopa State Park is this truly multifaceted destination. It offers this amazing blend of stunning natural beauty and, well, a deep well of history. Just a fantastic place to get out, learn, and explore.
Absolutely. I mean, from the dramatic double waterfall and the, historic ingenuity of Seman Mill to the just awe-inspiring bison herd and all those diverse trails, Minneopa offers a really rich experience for anyone interested in connecting with nature in the past. So if you're looking for a rewarding place to explore, somewhere to learn about geology, about history, maybe even witness a little bit of the sort of American West with those bison, Mini Opa State Park is definitely worth checking out.
Definitely. And, as you consider your own exploration there, maybe take a moment to contemplate the immense forces that have shaped this land. Think about the ancient glaciers, the steady flow of that creek, and how these forces continue to influence the story of the park today. What unique details or hidden stories might you uncover on your own deep dive into Mini Opa State Park?